Where to eat in Salt Lake City is one of my favorite questions. I could go on and on and on for hours. I could go like 4 square blocks at a time and just make one video for every 4 blocks. It's just blooming. The city is blooming with new opportunities and a thriving food scene. And we have a really wide range of cuisines and dining experiences for locals and tourists. And the city has a strong presence. Traditional dishes and flavors influenced by the region's pioneer and Mormon heritage, which I think is kind of a funny thing to say, but it's true. It's really true. We have our own special things that go on here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end of the video. One popular area for dining is downtown Salt Lake City. Obviously, that would be the first place you'd probably think to go. There's just a variety of restaurants and fine dining establishments. And I mean, the fine stuff, but also all the way to casual and eclectic options. There's just a huge variety of different things. So just on Main Street, or at least around Main Street, you have White Horse Spirits and Kitchen, where you can get a bar food with a fancy twist, all the way up to Wagyu steak. It's really fancy, but also a bar. So it's kind of a fun experience. I think it's for people who are not from Utah, it's confusing because they're like, there's a doorman at the restaurant like it's a bar, but it's like really fancy food. Well, welcome to Salt Lake, okay? Because we have, our liquor laws have been brought into the 21st century pretty recently. You used to have a membership at every single place that served alcohol. So if you wanted to go to 3 different places in one night, you'd have to buy a membership to each of those different places. So things have changed, but yes, there is going to be a doorman because it's a bar. It's basically a bar, but they have really nice food, and that way you can also have really nice drinks with your food too. So I think that's really what it comes down to. The next place around Main Street, just a little tiny snippet of places to look into, would be Takashi. Takashi is really good. It's an extremely well-regarded sushi house with a little sister bar across the hall, I guess you could say. You can go hang out in this little bar while you're waiting for your seat, because usually it's about an hour wait to get into Takashi. I don't think they do reservations, but you can hang out in this little bar and get some appetizers, which are really good, and then you can get into Takashi and have unagi and edamame and what's the tofu I love? It's so good with like the fish flakes. It's delicious. I can't think of it right now, but it's not technically on Main Street, but it's just barely off Main Street, and it's really good. I think you would be so sad to miss that place. Also, just off Main Street is Ivy and Varley, and it's a relatively new place to eat, but you can find that same sort of eclectic selection of foods that you would expect in a contemporary restaurant. You got curry mussels and burgers and cashew kimchi bowls. So it's just kind of like this smattering of all different kinds of things, but really well done. Also a bar. So I think you probably have to have ID and that kind of thing. So that's good to know. You can't take your kids because it's 21 and above. But if you need to take your kids somewhere, I would say Copper Commons. Well, no, Copper Commons is a bar too, but Copper Onion for sure is not a bar. And they're a favorite forever for so many people. They tend to be, I think they're a farm to table restaurant, and everything they make is so good. It's hard to ignore places with a little spice though. You've got like Santo Tacos really close to there, and you've also got Himalayan Kitchen really close to there. If you like a little bit more ethnic foods, there's so many good options. So stay tuned. I think what I will do is I'll start putting out more videos about different restaurants, and I'll actually go to the restaurant and we can meet the people there and that sort of thing. So there are dozens more, but this is just kind of a good start. If you're looking for kind of more like popular open air shopping and more casual food, casual to finer food, Gateway is probably going to be a good spot for you. Or you can head over to you can head over to City Creek and find it's a great spot for. You've got delicious, unique eats with a mix of local favorites and national chain restaurants. So you can find something that's like hot dog on a stick, all the way up to like a really nice Italian restaurant in both of those places, both in Gateway and also at City Creek. Gateway's got Hall Pass, which is kind of cool because it's like this new thing that I mean, the cool new thing, which I love, is that it's like a mall of restaurants in a little spot, right? So Hall Pass is really cool like that. All sorts of different, really good, like kind of high-end restaurants, but they're like fast foody. It's great. And then if you go over to City Creek, you can find really high-end Italian restaurants and just whatever you need there. If you want a taste of international cuisine, you can head to neighborhoods like Sugar House or the Avenues, where you're gonna find a diverse selection of authentic ethnic restaurants and markets. But Salt Lake is growing by leaps and bounds all the time. More people, more influences, but you might still have to search out the kind of food that you want in various locations around the city. So it's not quite fair to say that we have like one spot where all the ethnic food's gonna be. It's gonna be kind of interspersed all over the place. You know, having said that, if you go to West Valley or Taylorsville, some of the very best, most authentic pho and Mexican food is gonna be over there. So just be reassured that there are a plethora of good places to eat. The food truck scene in Salt Lake City has been exploding too. It's really gained a lot of popularity in recent years. So you got various trucks and events offering a variety of delicious, affordable options because they're food trucks. So I would say there's just too many to name. I would say the best way to look into that is go to slcfoodtrucks.org or roaminhunger.com. So roam, like I roam the hills, roaminhunger.com. And you can find schedules and recommended places, recommended food trucks, and you can find everything from sandwiches to desserts to tacos to pizza to beverage food trucks, and you can check all those places out and tailor it to exactly what you're looking for. Another thing that's gained a lot of popularity in recent decades in Salt Lake City is that there's a strong focus on sustainability and sourcing local ingredients, and that leads to that farm to table movement and an emphasis on fresh, high quality dishes that I was kind of talking about with Copper Onion. So some of the best places for that are going to be Log Haven, which is over in Mill Creek Canyon, or Copper Onion, which is going to be on 3rd South and pretty close to State Street, or Zest Kitchen, where you've got Arlo by the Capitol, or Pago over by 9th and 9th area. There's lots and lots of farm to table restaurants, and they're really good too. Salt Lake has a growing number of acclaimed chefs and award-winning restaurants, and it really makes Salt Lake City just a destination for food enthusiasts and critics. And I know we're not LA or New York, but man, there's just more all the time. It's really exciting. You just can't miss the chance to follow up with that hilarious Utah tradition of telling you that we have really great opportunities, new chefs, cutting edge, award winning, and then I'll tell you about Salt Lake City's most representative dishes that people think of for Salt Lake City. And those two things are that I promised I would tell you about in the beginning. The first one is that if you come to Salt Lake City, you cannot miss out on the famous fry sauce, and the local favorite that's often served with French fries. And it's a pink sauce. It's basically ketchup and mayo, and it's really good. It's really tasty. It's good with your fries. And then we also have our unique takes on classic dishes like green Jello, and with fruit and various accoutrements. We got cottage cheese or sour cream. Well, not sour cream. Cottage cheese or whipped cream. That's what I was thinking of. And then really, this is no joke, funeral potatoes. If you've not had funeral potatoes in Salt Lake City, you're missing out. You've got to try some authentic funeral potatoes because it's so good. And I don't know if that's just like my culture speaking or what, but man, seriously, check it out. In fact, some of our best restaurants, Ava's downtown on Main Street, another Main Street place, I think they have funeral potatoes and they're wicked good. They're like very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Bougie. They're just so bougie and like, they're just like very high end, but they're so good. So finally, with the city's close proximity to all this beautiful natural landscapes. There's lots of restaurants with breathtaking views of surrounding mountains and outdoor dining locations, which really, I mean, is a great experience. It's pretty cool. So some people would recommend the Roof Restaurant or Mar Montaña, but others would say that you got to go places like Silver Fork Lodge or Cliff Lodge and really get up there in the mountains to really kind of be like exposed to the mountains and get these beautiful landscapes. I will say Silver Fork Lodge and Cliff Lodge in the summer, beautiful. Like the mountains in the summer, just gorgeous. You can get out of the heat a little bit and just kind of kick back and relax and just be stunned by the natural beauty of the mountains. If you've been looking for a home in Salt Lake City and you'd like some help finding the best place to be closest to the restaurants you love, the kind of food you need to have in your life, reach out. I would love to help you get there. We'll have a good time. We'll find some good food and we could talk about all the different kinds of food that are best to eat, and I would love that.